Listen, I want to talk to you about something that's been burning inside me for a long time. Something that keeps me up at night. Something that makes me look around at this world and feel like I'm going crazy. I want to talk to you about the 1% way. You see, there's this invisible line that cuts through humanity. On one side, you got 99% of people living the same recycled life, making the same mistakes, following the same patterns, getting the same results. On the other side, you got 1% who figured out the code. They cracked something that the rest of the world can't see. And I'm here today to tell you that you can cross that line. But first, you gotta understand what that line really island. The 1% way isn't about money. I mean, yeah, money comes with it, but that's not what this is about. The 1% way is about thinking different. It's about moving different. It's about being so uncomfortable with average that you'd rather die than live like everybody else. It's about looking at the world and saying, this ain't for me. I'm built for something else. You know what separates the 1% from everybody else? They stopped asking for permission. They stopped waiting for the right time. They stopped looking for somebody to believe in them before they believed in themselves. They just decided. They made a choice that changed everything. They said, I'm going to be different, and I don't care who likes it. Most people are walking around dead. They're breathing, but they're not alive. They wake up, go to a job they hate, come home, watch television, scroll on their phone, go to sleep, and do it all over again. They're zombies. They're living somebody else's dream, somebody else's life, somebody else's vision, and they wonder why they feel empty inside. They wonder why nothing excites them anymore. But the 1%, they're awake. They're so awake it hurts. They see things that other people can't see. They feel things that other people can't feel. They understand that life is happening right now, and they're not going to waste a single second of it living below their potential. Let me tell you something about potential. Everybody's got it. Every single person walking this earth has the potential to be great. But potential is like having a Ferrari in your garage that you never drive. What's the point? The 1% take their Ferrari out every single day. They push it to the limit. They see what it can do. They don't let it sit there collecting dust while they take the bus. The 1% way starts with a decision. A decision that you're going to stop living like everybody else. A decision that you're going to stop making excuses. A decision that you're going to stop blaming your circumstances, your background, your education, your family, your boss, the economy, the government, or whatever else you've been using to justify why you're not where you want to be. Because here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. You are where you are because of the choices you've made. Period. The 1% own that. They don't point fingers. They don't make excuses. They look in the mirror and they say, if my life sucks, it's because I made it suck. And if I made it suck, I can make it great. That level of ownership is scary for most people. It's easier to blame somebody else. It's easier to say, it's not my fault. But the 1% understand that blame is a luxury they can't afford. Because when you blame somebody else for your problems, you give them the power to solve your problems. And the 1% never give their power away. The 1% way is about discipline. Not the kind of discipline that your parents or teachers tried to force on you. I'm talking about self-discipline. The kind that comes from the inside. The kind that makes you do what you need to do even when you don't feel like doing it. Especially when you don't feel like doing it. You know what most people do? They wait until they feel motivated. They wait until they feel inspired. They wait until they feel ready. The 1% understand that feelings are followers, not leaders. They don't wait for motivation. They create it. They don't wait for inspiration. They go out and find it. They don't wait until they're ready. They get ready by doing. Every morning, the 1% wake up and they make a choice. They choose to be uncomfortable. They choose to do the hard thing. They choose to take the path that everybody else is too scared to take. While everybody else is hitting the snooze button, the 1% are already working. While everybody else is complaining about how tired they are, the 1% are getting after it. And here's what happens when you live like this. You start to see results that other people can't explain. You start to achieve things that other people said were impossible. You start to become the person that other people look at and wonder, how did they do that? And the answer is simple. You followed the 1% way. The 1% way means you say no to things that everybody else says yes to. You say no to the party. You say no to sleeping in. You say no to the easy choice. You say no to instant gratification. You say no to comfort. Because you understand that every yes to something small is a no to something big. Most people can't understand this. They think you're crazy. They think you're obsessed. They think you're missing out on life. But the 1% understand that they're not missing out on life. They're creating a life that's worth living. They're building something that matters. They're becoming someone that matters. The 1% way is about long-term thinking. While everybody else is focused on what they can get today, the 1% are focused on what they can become over the next 10 years. They understand that success is not an event, it's a process. It's not something that happens to you. It's something that you make happen through daily choices, daily habits, daily disciplines. You want to know why most people fail? Because they want the results without the process. They want the destination without the journey. They want the reward without the work. The 1% embrace the process. They fall in love with the journey. They understand that who they become along the way is more important than what they achieve at the end. The 1% way is about excellence, not perfection. Excellence. There's a difference. Perfection is impossible. Excellence is a choice. Excellence is doing your best with what you have, where you are, right now. Excellence is getting a little bit better every single day. Excellence is never settling for good enough when you know you can do better. Most people live in the land of good enough. They do just enough to get by, just enough to not get fired, just enough to pass the test, just enough to avoid criticism. The 1% live in the land of excellence. They do their best even when nobody's watching. They push themselves even when they don't have to. They care about quality even when nobody else does. And here's what happens when you commit to excellence. People notice. Opportunities come your way. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. Because excellence is rare. Excellence stands out. Excellence creates its own luck. The 1% way is about focus. In a world full of distractions, the 1% have the ability to focus on what matters. They don't get caught up in drama. They don't waste time on things that don't move them forward. They don't chase shiny objects. They pick one thing and they go all in. Most people try to do everything and end up doing nothing well. The 1% understand that focus is power. They understand that when you spread your energy across 10 different things, you're weak in all of them. But when you focus all your energy on one thing, you become unstoppable. The 1% way means you stop caring about what other people think. Not because you don't care about people, but because you understand that you can't live your life trying to please everybody else. You can't make decisions based on other people's opinions. You can't let other people's fears become your limits. Most people are slaves to other people's opinions. They dress a certain way because of what people might think. They choose careers based on what their parents want. They stay in relationships that don't serve them because they're worried about what people will say. The 1% understand that the only opinion that matters is their own. They live their life on their terms. The 1% way is about taking responsibility, not just for your successes, but for your failures too. Not just for your wins, but for your losses. Not just for the good things that happen to you, but for the bad things too. Because when you take responsibility for everything in your life, you get the power to change everything in your life. Most people want to take credit for the good stuff and blame somebody else for the bad stuff. The 1% take responsibility for it all, because they understand that responsibility is power. When you're responsible for your problems, you have the power to solve your problems. The 1% way means you invest in yourself, you invest in your education, you invest in your health, you invest in your skills, you invest in your mindset. You understand that you are your most important asset. You understand that the best investment you can make is an investment in yourself. Most people spend more money on their car than they do on their education. They spend more time watching television than they do working on themselves. They care more about how they look on the outside than how they feel on the inside. The 1% understand that external success is a reflection of internal development. The 1% way is about delayed gratification. It's about doing what's hard now so you can have what's easy later. It's about making sacrifices today so you can have freedom tomorrow. It's about planting seeds that you might not see grow for years. Most people want everything right now. They want instant results. They want instant success. They want instant gratification. But the 1% understand that anything worth having takes time. They're willing to wait. They're willing to work. They're willing to sacrifice. The 1% way means you surround yourself with other people who think like you. You can't hang around negative people and expect to stay positive. You can't hang around lazy people and expect to stay motivated. You can't hang around people who don't believe in themselves and expect to keep believing in yourself. Most people are influenced by whoever is around them. If they're around complainers, they complain. If they're around excuse makers, they make excuses. If they're around quitters, they quit. The 1% are very careful about who they let into their circle. They understand that you become who you spend time with. The 1% way is about courage. The courage to be different. The courage to stand alone. The courage to go after what you want even when everybody tells you it's impossible. The courage to fail and get back up. The courage to keep going when everybody else quits. Most people let fear run their life. They're afraid of failure. They're afraid of success. They're afraid of what people will think. They're afraid of being judged. They're afraid of being rejected. The 1% feel fear too, but they don't let fear make their decisions. They feel the fear and do it anyway. The 1% way means you have a vision. You know where you're going. You have a clear picture of what you want your life to look like. You have goals that excite you. You have dreams that scare you. You have a reason to get up in the morning that's bigger than yourself. Most people are drifting through life without a destination. They don't know what they want. They don't know where they're going. They don't have any goals. They don't have any dreams. They're just existing. The 1% are living with purpose. They're moving towards something. They have a target. The 1% way is about consistency. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up every day. It's about doing the little things that nobody sees. It's about building momentum through daily action. It's about understanding that small actions done consistently create massive results. Most people are looking for the big breakthrough. They want the one thing that's going to change everything. But the 1% understand that success is built one day at a time, one choice at a time, one action at a time. They understand that consistency beats intensity. The 1% way means you never stop learning. You never stop growing. You never stop improving. You understand that the moment you think you know everything is the moment you start falling behind. You stay curious. You stay hungry. You stay humble. Most people stop learning when they finish school. They think they know enough. They get comfortable with what they know. They stop challenging themselves. The 1% understand that learning is a lifelong process. They're always reading, always studying, always growing. The 1% way is about resilience. It's about getting knocked down and getting back up. It's about facing setbacks and finding a way forward. It's about turning obstacles into opportunities. It's about using pain as fuel. Most people quit when things get hard. They give up at the first sign of resistance. They let setbacks become permanent. But the 1% understand that setbacks are setups for comebacks. They understand that obstacles are opportunities in disguise. The 1% way means you take care of your body. You understand that your body is the vehicle that carries you through life. You can't achieve great things with a broken vehicle. You exercise not because you have to, but because you want to perform at your highest level. Most people abuse their body and then wonder why they feel tired all the time. They eat junk food and wonder why they don't have energy. They don't exercise and wonder why they feel weak. The 1% understand that physical health is the foundation of everything else. The 1% way is about giving back. It's about understanding that success is not just about what you achieve, but about what you contribute. It's about making a difference in other people's lives. It's about leaving the world better than you found it. Most people are only focused on themselves. They only think about what they can get. But the 1% understand that true fulfillment comes from giving. They understand that the more you give, the more you receive. Now let me ask you something. Are you ready to live the 1% way? Are you ready to stop making excuses and start making progress? Are you ready to stop living like everybody else and start living like the person you're meant to be? Because here's the thing. The 1% way is not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. It requires sacrifice. It requires discipline. It requires courage. It requires consistency. It requires you to become comfortable being uncomfortable. But I promise you this, if you commit to the 1% way, if you make the decision to live differently, if you're willing to do what others won't do, your life will change in ways you can't even imagine right now. You'll wake up with purpose. You'll go to bed with satisfaction. You'll look in the mirror and respect the person looking back at you. You'll become the person that others look up to. You'll live a life that matters. The choice is yours. You can keep living like the 99%, or you can choose the 1% way. You can keep making excuses, or you can start making progress. You can keep waiting for tomorrow, or you can start today. The 1% way is not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about making choices that align with your vision. It's about becoming the person you're capable of becoming. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep living below your potential, or are you going to step up and live the 1% way? The choice is yours. But remember, not making a choice is still making a choice. And if you don't choose the 1% way, you're choosing the 99% way by default. Don't let that happen. You're better than that. You deserve better than that. You were born for more than that. Choose the 1% way. Choose to be different. Choose to be great. Choose to live a life that matters. The time is now. The person is you. The way is the 1% way.